What I don't know is how to pause it. So, like, I didn't try doing that last time, but I'm wondering if
Okay.
you have that option. On my end, just so you know, I have an
Okay, we're
option.
here.
Okay, I have an option of going like to the YouTube stream or staying here. Wow, there's a nice amount of students here.
There's 27 students here. How can I pause? Oh no, I need to mute it, huh? Mute my YouTube live.
Oh, you can do it on your
Yeah, it seems to be like delayed. So I'm trying not to pay attention. So I just closed it right now.
Yeah. Or you can even mute it. Oh yeah, that's what you were
That's
doing.
what I did. I just
That's
muted
what I
it.
did last time as well.
Okay, if you're in here, we're gonna get started in about 4 minutes because classes just ended. So we're gonna wait for the students to come in about 4 minutes in case anyone had to rush the bathroom or get something to drink. If you wanna go get water or anything like this, you have about 4 minutes before I get started. So go ahead and do that as we wait for more students to come in, and I see them trickling in now. I'm gonna share my screen.
Wow, there's a lot of juniors in this space.
Can you still see them?
Mhm.
Did you want to navigate the Q&A?
Yeah, I'll do that. I'm gonna mute myself in a second and shut my video. But I'll unmute whenever it's time.
Okay. If there are any questions you can answer right away, Lucia, go for it. If not, I will do all those questions at the end. Is that cool?
That's perfect. Yeah. And
Okay,
if
great.
well with the presentation, I'll also jump in.
Okay,
Like if
great.
they go with what you're currently talking about.
Okay. I'm gonna put it on presenter mode. Here we go. All right, so I will start in about 3 minutes. So if you just came in and you want to go get some water or rush to the bathroom real quick, we're gonna get started at 2:05.
When you get started, Rosa, remind them that it's being recorded, but your face, my face, and the presentation.
Just the presentation.
Yeah.
Okay. If you just walked in or signed on, we're gonna get started in about 2 minutes. So if you wanted to go get water, something to drink, or if you wanted to rush the bathroom, now's the time. As an FYI, we are recording this, but you can really only see, if at all, my face, Miss B's face, and the presentation. So we can't see any of you because it's webinar format, okay? We're gonna get started in about 1 minute. So if there's something you feel you need to do right now, go ahead and take that last minute. I'm gonna get started at 2:05. And as a reminder, we are recording this, especially for those that are unable to make it, but we can't see any of your faces at all, even if you don't have your camera on. This is webinar format, so you can only see myself and Ms. B.
I'm gonna go work at my lunch, so that means I'm gonna step away for about 30 seconds. Bet.
Out for your home, huh? I like that. All right, Diane. Under one
All right, so I'm gonna get started. Before I get started, I just want you to know that we are recording this. And the reason is for all the students that are unable to make it for whatever reason, we want to make sure we have this information available. Also, if you're here, it's important to pay attention and ask any questions because we're already here to answer those questions. But you will have access to this presentation. If you're like, oh, maybe I missed that and I wish I could go back to it, we're going to give you all the link to this video as well as this presentation. So you don't need to write any types of crazy notes. You're going to have access to this presentation. You're going to be able to see it. If you want to take notes, write anything down that I'm saying that is not on this presentation itself. Okay. So what we're going to be talking about today is signing up for community college classes. So when we talk about this at ECHS, we're usually talking about what's called dual enrollment or concurrent enrollment. These are interchangeable and they mean the same thing. And when our school is talking about community college courses, we're usually talking about El Camino. So this process is specifically for El Camino, but it doesn't mean that you can't take classes, let's say at LA Trade Tech or Southwest College or West LA College or Santa Monica College, especially when the classes are online. But the instructions that are here are specifically towards El Camino College. Okay. So this is a resource page. I put it at the beginning because once we go through the information, once you sign in, this is probably going to be the first place that you're going to go to get some of the information directly from El Camino. So I have this at the beginning and I have it at the end. So when you sign in, it's easier to find. I'm not going to click through these things. These things will make more sense once you're going through the process. So what is dual or concurrent enrollment? If you haven't heard, you're able to take community college courses while you're in high school. So it really is an opportunity for you to complete college coursework while you're still enrolled in high school. So it really provides either a transfer pathway or a career educational pathway, or if you're trying to get ahead in some classes. This isn't intended as remedial or makeup work. So what that means is if you failed math or if you failed ethnic studies and you're like, I want to make this up, so I'm going to take a class at community college, that's not really how this works. This is more so if you want to get ahead or if you want to take a class that is towards a career pathway or a class that is going to help bump up your GPA. And I'll talk more about that in a little bit. So who can sign up for a college class? This is just a recommendation, but we usually recommend students that have above a 3.5 GPA. Anybody who feels comfortable handling a college level course or a student that wants to get a career certification. So this is a recommendation. It's not saying that we only agree to have students that have above a 3.5 take community college courses. We've definitely let people who have 3.0s take community college courses or anywhere in between that. The reason is that a college level course is a lot more information in a smaller amount of time. So if you're taking a summer course, these courses are between 6 and 8 weeks. So you have to think a semester at ECHS is anywhere from like 15 weeks to 20 weeks. And a regular semester at community college is anywhere from 10 to 12 weeks. A summer course at El Camino College is anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks. So it's a lot of information scrunched up into a small amount of time. So if you know that you're going to dedicate yourself to a specific class and you're dedicating yourself to passing that class, then yeah, we recommend that you take a college course. At the bottom, I put when the summer courses are starting. So you'll see there that the first 6-week and 8-week sessions are starting on June 21st of this summer. And then the second 6-week session is starting July 6th. So if you're available for those dates to take a course, especially online, then this is an option for you. So why would you want to sign up for a college class? There's several reasons why you would want to. One would be if you want to get ahead. So there's a couple classes that you could take at El Camino that if you took and passed, you would not have to take any CHS. If you wanted to bump up your GPA, because it's a college level class, which means you get the extra GPA point. So if you get an A, instead of getting the regular 4 points, you would get 5. If you got a B, you would get 4 points instead of the 3. If you wanted to strengthen your transcript, so if you had a semester where you got some A's and B's and maybe a C, but you wanted to justify those things, you would take a college level course so that colleges could see that you are capable of taking and passing a college level class. And then it really is an opportunity to take an advanced course, to earn college credit. And that's, again, dependent on the school you go to see if those classes are transferable, to explore a potential interest or curiosity. So if you're interested in psychology and you take psych at El Camino, you might really love it and want to continue pursuing psychology, or you might think, you know what, this isn't actually what I thought it was going to be, and you might change your mind. Or further explore an interest you already have, or prepare for a job. So they do have these career pathways where you could start to take a class or some classes that go towards a certain career certification. This could be like automobile technology, in addition to some other things that you can start taking classes for now, so that when you graduate, if you have that certification, you can start working in that field. So the dual enrollment process. This is sort of what can seem long and extensive. I will go over these with you, but it's actually not that complicated once you go through the motions. So for 10th grade students, you'll have to apply for admission at El Camino. You'll complete a dual enrollment form, which is where you say, I want to take this class. You'll get it signed by a counselor. As a 10th grader, you may have to submit your high school transcripts, and we provide that for you, so you can just upload it. The college will reserve the right to limit enrollment. So maybe they decide as a 10th grader, you know, based on your transcript, we only want you to take 1 class, or you know what, we feel like they can handle 2 classes. So El Camino will determine that. You'll have to clear any prerequisites, and that might mean any surveys, and they'll look at your transcript to see, like, maybe you want to take French, but you've been speaking French your whole life at your house, so maybe there's some prerequisites that you may need to take. You'll have to register for classes using that dual enrollment form, and I have all that information on here. And you should know that classes are usually in the afternoon, in the evening, weekend, online during pandemic right now, and with other adult college students. This is really important to know. So you're not going to be in specific high school courses with other high school students. You're going to be in classes with other college students that are most likely now adults. Okay. At the end, you always want to ask for a transcript. You'll be submitting that to us. For 11th and 12th grade students, it's very similar. They're just not determining how many classes you take. The counselor will sign off on how many classes you'll be able to take. You do have to submit an English and math placement survey that just talks about your latest math class and the grades that you got. And you'll submit any AP test scores if you have them to them in case you want to take any advanced courses. But it's basically the same process.
Mrs. Ramirez, we have a question that's relevant.
Okay.
The 9th graders join as well.
Absolutely. So the only reason it says 10th graders now, because if you're a 9th grader now and you're going to take a class in the summer, you're no longer considered a 9th grader, you'll be considered a 10th grader. So that's why it says 10th grade, and that's why you've been invited to this meeting. 9th graders can definitely take classes because you very soon will be 10th graders. And that's why you're here.
So if I'm a 9th grader right now, I'm going to be applying under the 10th grade
column.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
Correct. So frequently asked questions. When can you sign up for classes? Well, summer registration has already begun, so you can sign up for those classes now, as well as fall. Registration appointments are going to be viewable on your My ECC account. So it's sort of like a portal that you sign in with a username and a password. And when you sign in, it will tell you when you're able to register for classes. Can you change the class that you registered for? Every time you register for a class, you have to submit what's called a dual enrollment form. And this is a form that says, this is my name, my information. I want to take this class. And then you give it to a counselor and we sign off on it and you submit it. So if you change your mind, you haven't been cleared for whatever class you have changed your mind to. So you have to resend a dual enrollment form to your counselor so that we can sign off on it, so that you can submit it. and then you'd be able to register for that class. Okay, what if the courses I wish to take are waitlisted or closed? Sometimes this happens. So classes at community college tend to be super packed, but sometimes they have a lot of courses available to where there's enough space for students to take them. So what happens if you sign up for a class and it says waitlisted or closed? If it says waitlisted, you still show up to the class and you ask the professor for what's called a code. And in college talk, it's called crashing a course. You ask the professor for a course number, and they'll give you a code so that you can get off the wait list. Or if it's closed, you still show up to the class, and you can email the professor and say, I really want to join your class. These are the reasons why. Can I get a code to enroll or register in your class? At the very bottom, I've linked here the academic calendar. So you know when is the last day to add a class. So even if classes started tomorrow and you didn't get a code till Friday, it still might be okay so long as it's not past the date. So what classes should you take or can you take? To get ahead, we recommend econ and political science. So econ is a class, it's a state required course that you have to take in high school. Political science in this case would replace government. So to get ahead, we recommend either taking economics or political science. So what these two courses give you the opportunity to do is to not take econ and not take government at ECHS. Why does that help? That helps because it gives you the opportunity to take any other community college courses that you would like your senior year to stick with that rigor that is necessary for college. There are some other popular courses, and under popular courses, I've linked a whole sheet of classes that are available to you. But some classes that our students tend to take is business, psychology, and sociology. There are a bunch of other classes that you can take. There's artsy classes that you can take. The physical education ones are not really that popular right now because you're obviously not there, but there are some dance classes that are available. So what classes can I not take? I linked in here non-approved courses. So these are courses that the college has determined you cannot take as a high school student. And then I've somewhat summarized it at the bottom here, but feel free to click on that and see what courses are available to you if one of these subjects are something that you're interested in. How will you get credit? So the most important thing that you must do after you've taken a class and passed it is you're going to order an official transcript. And I've linked that here. You'll order an official transcript and you'll have it sent to your counselor, and we will take that information and put it on your transcript. That way your college sees it and they know that you should receive credit for that if that class is transferable. I have some information here as to where your grade will be available in case you want to see it, and how you can view your unofficial transcript. This is important for you to know. It's called FERPA. So what is it? Basically, it's a law that states that when you are enrolled in a college, your parent is not responsible for you and your information. So let's say you're taking a class and you're failing and you want to know why you're failing. Like, your professor is not going to call your parents and say, look, your student is failing. This is why they're failing. Excuse me. Additionally, it basically protects you and your rights at this school. So if you wanted more information, if you wanted a transcript, if you wanted to talk about your current grade, it would have to be you, the student, that would have to get in communication with whomever you wanted to get in contact with at the school. At this point, it would not, your parent cannot just call and get information without you being there. So who can I contact at El Camino if I need help? This is really important because we're at ECHS and there's some things we do not have access to be able to help you. So if you don't get your student ID number, if you don't know where to submit certain things, if you have to get in contact with student services, we don't have access to them or access to that information the way that you would when you need your information at ECHS. So these are the two people. And just so you know, they're super kind and super nice, and they deal with high school students. So you can think of them as the high school student counselors at El Camino. So they're super helpful, whatever it is that you need. If you have questions about a class, if you have questions about registering, they are the ones that can help you in the fastest way. This is where I put the resource page again. So I have outlined the steps for becoming a dual enrollment student. So if you're like, oh, what are they? Is there a better way I can see this? There's a link here. So there is a better format to this. If you don't know how to fill out your El Camino application, this link here walks you step by step how to apply to El Camino, step by step, everything that you have to do and what you need to click on. Where you can get the dual enrollment form is here. How you would fill out that dual enrollment form is also here. So if you're like, I've never seen this form before, I don't know how to fill it out, step-by-step instructions are here. Once you've done all of that and you're able to register for classes, if you're like, I'm on my ECC, I don't know how to register, the step-by-step instructions are here. And at the end, once you've passed and you need to order a transcript, the steps are here. So if at any point you get stuck or you're like, you know what, I followed these instructions and I still am unable to register for my class, then you would email someone like Michelle Arthur. And when you email them, you always tell them your name and your student ID number. Or if you haven't gotten your student ID number, you can email them and say, this is my name, I'm from ECHS, and I haven't gotten my student ID number, but here's my application confirmation number. She will get you the information that you need. These are additional support services should you need them and where you can email. So if you need to retrieve your student ID number and you can't email Michelle Arthur, then you can email them at welcomecenter@elcamino.edu and someone will get back to you. So these are other places that you can go to get the help that you need. So dual enrollment drop-in hours, this is important. They are available to help you. So if you're like, I need help, but I need to like have a Zoom one-on-one, you can email them at outreach@elcamino.com. They'll send you a link and they're available Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursday from 4 to 5. You can just drop in and they'll help you with whatever you need on the spot. They're going to have a dual enrollment informational session that kind of goes over the same information here, but probably with a little bit more detail on the 25th and April 22nd at 5 p.m. There's a showcase on the 4th. And if you need registration assistance, they'll have that on May 20th and June 3rd if you want that as well. So these are just some events and some dates that you may want to keep for yourself. If you would like to go, you just email them at outreach@elcamino.edu and they're going to send you a link directly. So any questions? Just Ms. B, just before I start answering questions, you all should know that when I share this slide presentation with you, there's going to be like an additional 10 slides after this with just additional information that might be beneficial to you. I don't necessarily need to go over that now, but if you see it and you're like, she never went over this, that's because it's pretty self-explanatory. And it just is more detail about the things I already went over.
So that was one of the questions. Where can I get the Google Slide link? So like Ms. Doña Ramirez just mentioned, she's going to email out the slide deck and also the link to the YouTube presentation, just in case you need to go back and rewatch this video.
Correct.
Okay, another question. How do you know if a class is transferable?
When you don't actually know if it's transferable until you decide on a college that you're going to. So each college gets to decide what classes are transferable and which are not. However, usually political science and government for the CSUs and the UCs are transferable.
We can kind of give you a really good guess based off what we've seen in the past. And usually what Ms. Doña Ramirez and I do is go to this website that lets us know if the UCs do validate it as a class. And also, I think the most important thing here is we go to a website to let us know if you'll get the honors credit, the AP, the extra point, and if you get high school credit. So we'll be able to let you know if you're wondering, just tag us in and we'll be able to let you know if it's a class that's most likely transferable or not.
At the dual enrollment meeting that they have, they show you where you can check when you're registering for classes to see if it's transferable to the CSUs or the UCs. The private schools are a little bit different because each one is just has their own rules.
Another question, and I stepped away for a few seconds, so I might have missed, maybe you already answered it, but a question here is, do we submit the dual enrollment to ECHS or to El Camino?
Both. So you will fill out the dual enrollment form and then you will email it to your counselor. So if you're in 9th going to 10th grade, you will send it to Mr. Lopez. But if you're in 10th going to 11th or 11th going to 12th, you will email it to me. I will look through it. I will look at your information. I will sign it and I'm going to email it back to you. Then you will email that to the dual enrollment email and steps that you see in this presentation.
So that concurrent enrollment form, you're giving it to your counselor so that they can give you permission to take
Correct.
the class. And the completed form has to be turned into El Camino College, emailed to them.
Yeah, the signed and completed form has to be emailed to El Camino, but you need permission from your counselor in order to register for the class.
Another question is, do you need previous knowledge for any of the classes?
For most of the courses, I'm going to say no, because these are all like entry level courses, let's say psychology 1, not psychology 50. It will be, these will all be introductory courses, not advanced placement courses. However, if you are trying to take a language, you might need previous knowledge and may need to talk to Michelle Arthur or clear some prerequisites.
Okay, so if I took an El Camino class last summer, do I have to reapply the same way I did last time? Or can I just reuse that account and take another class without the signature permission?
If you miss 2 major terms, fall and spring, yes, you do have to reapply. So if you took it last summer and you've already missed fall and you didn't sign up for spring, yes, you will have to reapply.
How many classes can I take?
You can take up to 2 depending on your GPA and when you're taking the course. So if you're taking summer and you are dedicated to passing the courses, depending on the courses that you choose, we may give you permission for 2. In the winter, we're only going to give you permission for 1. In the fall, it depends on your grade level and your GPA and what classes you want to take, whether or not we'll give you permission for 1 or 2.
This is a question about taking a college class at West LA, but the student hasn't turned in the transcript yet. Can I still submit it? The answer is yes. Submit it as soon as possible, please. Yes. Submit it as soon as you can.
Yeah.
If we fail the college class we take, would we have to retake the class in the upcoming year?
You can retake the course. I would recommend that you retake the course if you can. Yes.
Yeah, like if it's a class that's not required for graduation, like psychology 5, you don't have to retake the class. But if it's political science 1, let's say you failed political science over the summer, then you would have to take government in the fall because you need that class in order to graduate.
This actually reminds me of something. If you enroll in a class and you're struggling and you see that you can't handle it, there is a way to drop the course. So there is a date for when you can drop the course, let's say without penalty. And then there's a second day when you can drop the course with what it's called a W, like you withdraw from the course. It's not the worst thing. You just don't want to have too many of them because it's not a good look. But you can still drop the course before an official F goes on your transcript. So if you're struggling with the course at any point, please talk to us so that we can look at some of those dates and we can talk about what you're struggling with, see if we can help you or if it's just time to drop the class.
So this was about signing up for a fall class. So if you sign up for a fall class, will you be taking that class during the school year? The answer is yes, you will be taking that class during the school year. So it would probably be one of your 6 or 7 courses. We would try our best to add it into your schedule, your regular schedule. So you might decide, you know what, I don't want to take this class at ECHS. I'm gonna just, instead of it saying Spanish 3, or instead of like it saying physics, I wanted to say El Camino College because I'm taking a science class at El Camino. I'm taking oceanography, for example. So yes, if you sign up for fall, it will be a class that you take only for the fall semester.
And that's only applicable if you're a junior or a senior and have space in your schedule. So if you have to make up other classes, you're not going to be able to do that. It will be an additional course instead of a replacement course. And if you're going into 10th grade, then it's not replacing any course. You're taking an additional college course in addition to the courses you're taking at ECHS.
How much do the books cost approximately?
It depends on the class, but you are responsible for paying for those textbooks.
Yeah, it totally depends. Sometimes it's a reader that's $30, and sometimes it's a textbook that's $120. Okay, here's another one. Will I have to take both econ and political science to have the 2 semesters free for 12th grade?
Yes. If you only take political science, you're only covering government. If you only take econ, you're only covering econ. If you take both, you will have that whole class taken care of the whole year.
Are there Japanese language classes?
There are Japanese language classes. If you're taking an intro course, it's fine. Usually it tends to be okay. If you talk Japanese in your home and you want to take an advanced Japanese course, you'll have to talk to the dual enrollment coordinators to place you in the correct classes. Language is a little bit tricky though. They don't always accept you. That's one of sort of under the non-classes. So you have to really look through there to see what classes are available.
This is kind of a repeat. Can we take classes that would pass for a GE for ECHS and college?
No, we don't recommend that. So if you're taking a course because you're interested in the subject, that's great. But if you're taking a course like ethnic studies because you failed it at ECHS, we don't necessarily recommend that because the colleges, especially if you want to go to college, because the colleges want you to be able to pass your high school class. I know that sounds a little bit funky, but when we have these workshops with the UC representatives and the CSU representatives, they want you to pass the courses available in your high school before you resort to a community college course. It's not something that they like to see. It just makes things a little bit more complicated. And I think it might be a little bit selfish, to be honest. It might be a monetary thing. But I don't necessarily recommend that because it's also, you have to think at ECHS, if you're taking ethnic studies, it's the whole year. And at a community college, you'd be taking the whole year in half the time. And we're not even sure what it is that they're covering. It's probably very interesting though.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, like if you're taking a class at El Camino to repair for credit recovery, that's not the best thing because if you take it with ECHS, if you retake your class that you failed in 9th grade with ECHS, you get to replace
the grade
with a new grade. And if you take it at El Camino, and though it's a college class and it's considered like an AP class, you can't replace the grade, which is like, it won't help out your GPA. So we do recommend that you take courses at El Camino that are currently not offered at ECHS. That's probably your best strategy. Because you get to tell colleges that not only did you take the most rigorous course load at ECHS, but you also looked outside of ECHS for additional opportunities. And that's what they evaluate when they're looking at your application.
Except for government and econ.
Yeah. Does taking these classes affect your GPA?
Yes, they do. So you want to pass those courses. It also helps boost it, right? Because if it's considered a college level course, you will get the extra GPA point.
This was already answered. So if we're 10th graders now, yes, you do sign up as 11th graders. So if you're 10th graders now, you look at the 11th grade column and follow those instructions. If
Correct.
you're 9th graders now, you look at the 10th grade column. How long is the duration of the classes? 3 weeks, 6 weeks, 12 weeks?
It's about 12 weeks unless it's in the summer. So the summer has a section of 6 week and a section of 8 week, and then an additional 6 week. So it's kind of broken up into 2 sections with 6 and 8 weeks and then additional 6 weeks. In the winter, it's the same. It's about 6 to 8 weeks. But in the fall, it's 10 to 12 weeks, depending on the class.
Cool. So that answered another question. So summer courses are shorter in length. Fall courses are longer in length. How hard would math class be? Would you recommend it if it's something we're interested in?
I do not recommend the math classes because it makes the transcript very confusing. Right now, the UCs and the CSUs sort of have a problem with everyone's different math, let's say pathways. So I do not recommend taking math at El Camino.
Correct. And we've actually had about a couple students in the last few years take a math class, but that's after they finish with pre-calc, they finish with AP Calc, they passed the AP Calc test, and then they got college credit for that first semester of AP Calc, and then they were able to go to El Camino and take an additional course. So if you happen to finish with AP Calc, then we have something to offer you at El Camino.
The math classes at community college go at like super lightning speed. And this is talking, it goes very, very fast. So if you know, like I am super acing, I'm in the honors and the super fast track math classes here, and this is not helping me, you and I can have a conversation, but I really just don't usually recommend it.
Other than econ and government, do you have a list of recommended courses?
Yes, it's in this PowerPoint. So when I share that with you, you can go ahead and click on that slide and on that link, and there's additional courses that you can take.
Do you recommend speed courses, even if it's your first one?
Speed courses.
I think that might mean like a quick summer class, maybe. Or in the winter, the courses are 6 weeks as opposed to in the spring or fall, they're 12 weeks.
I would recommend
Summer.
taking summer over winter, because winter is your break. Like you've just gone through a whole semester, like you want a mental health break, like winter is sort of that time. I don't usually recommend taking classes in the winter. People tend to take more fun classes in the winter if they do, like photography or art, but I don't. I would, if you're going to take a fast course, I would do it in the summer.
And then they clarify with accelerated. So I think it just means they're asking, like, do you recommend like summer courses or winter courses? Yeah, like summer, yes, because you don't have 6 other classes. Winter, you're talking about January and February. So you also have to juggle your 6 ECHS courses. So we don't ever recommend winter, as Ms. Doña Ramirez just said. What if you want to take a history class instead of taking the AP class at El Camino?
It's not instead. It would be in addition, because the classes you're taking, the history classes in particular, are all state required courses, which means in order to get a high school diploma anywhere, you have to pass those courses. So it wouldn't be instead of, it would be in addition to.
Yeah, and it's more strategic for you to take the AP course at your school as opposed to taking it at a community college. One thing that I can see students doing is taking ethnic studies as 9th grade. And then once they're 11th or 12th graders, like taking the ethnic studies course, not to give you credit for the 9th grade course because you already have it, but to give you like a GE for your college, whether it's UC or Cal State or hopefully a private school that's gonna accept that. There might be a small chance that they don't accept it, but most likely they will. The questions just keep coming, Ms. Doña.
I'm here.
All right. What classes would you recommend that we take so that our transcript shows we looked outside of ECHS and participated in the most rigorous courses?
We already have you in the most rigorous coursework, but if you want to take a community college to help with that, you want to take classes that you're interested in, because these are things that are going to help you in your personal insight questions with your college applications, or that are going to help you with choosing a major as you get older. So if you're like, I've really thought about becoming a social worker, so you take a sociology class, like you can justify that in your applications. Like these are the ways that I've been trying. They have classes that deal with code. So if you're like, oh, I've been looking at computer science or there's some things that, you know, I've been wanting to start my own website or whatever it is, and you take a coding class, these are things that you can talk about in your college applications. So if you're like, well, I'm not necessarily wanting to take econ or political science at a community college, but there are things you're interested in, or two different things that you might be interested in, and you just don't know what they are, you can take classes in those subjects at El Camino to help you reinforce your college application.
By reapplying, does that mean that we only have to resubmit the dual enrollment form?
No, you have to reapply to the school. So you'd starting fresh as if you'd never applied to begin with.
Yeah, and you always submit the dual enrollment form each time you want to get in.
Anytime you're registering for any class, you have to submit a dual enrollment form for that class. So if you never submitted a dual enrollment form with that class on it, you will not be able to register for that class, because that's how they give you clearance for it. Let's do questions for about 5 more minutes.
So we got 5 more questions here.
Okay.
Is this whole process going to be different if we start going back to in-person learning?
No, it will always be the same.
This has been the same process for the last, I don't know, 10 years that we've done this.
Yes.
Let's see. If we already answered that one, are the classes we take at ECHS the classes we need to graduate high school?
Yes, almost every single one.
Are the classes in category, like if I want to take Japanese class, will it be in the language?
Yes.
Yes. So you'll have like English, you'll have science, math, like you'll have categories, and right underneath those categories, you'll have a list of the courses that are offered.
If you're looking at psychology, sociology, ethnic studies, these will be under the social sciences.
Are there Japanese classes that allow students who don't know how to speak Japanese?
Yes. These classes can be difficult, not that you can't take them, but you really, like, if you're signing up for languages because you really, really want to learn that language, because they move fairly quickly. So you want to focus on it, you want to concentrate on it, you want to learn the language. It's not just something like, oh, let me see if I can learn it. No, like you're like, I'm committed to learning this language, is why you would take a language course.
Okay, we had just finished answering all the questions in the Q&A, but we have a few more, but I'm gonna head into the chat because these have been waiting here for a few minutes now. Would I have to take both econ and poli-sci to have 2 semesters free for 12th grade? Yes, you do. And most seniors, once they get to this position, use that free period to take more El Camino classes, or they switch it around so that they can like end the school day with a free period and go to their internship, go to their job, go to whatever extracurricular that they're really invested in. When completing the government and econ course at El Camino, how do they boost a GPA during the summer? Aren't the 11th grade grades certified? Your grades will be final at the end of your 11th grade summer. So for those students that are trying to take El Camino courses, you'll get that GPA boost if you do well in that course, or if you're doing credit recovery. Let's say you failed some classes in 9th, 10th, or 11th grade, and that summer after your 11th grade, before your senior year, you take courses to recover those credits, then those grades are going to be the ones that count, and your GPA will be boosted. So your GPA is finalized at the end of 11th grade summer, and that's what you use for your college applications.
Correct.
I think we've answered 40 questions.
Yay.
And it's only 2:43.
Okay, so this is what's going to happen. I'm going to email you all the presentation. So you will have access to all of the information in the presentation I just went over, as well as the link to this entire presentation. You'll be able to see the answers to the questions and this video as well. So you will be getting that probably by tomorrow. So just hang tight. If you have any additional questions that are not answered when you look back on the presentation or when you look back on this video, just go ahead and email us. But do please look for that information on the presentation. It's very likely that it's there. Yes, Ms. B.
Really good last question, and then we're good.
Sure.
What is the deadline for applying for this spring? I mean,
for summer?
Yeah.
You can start applying now. It's open right now. There is an academic calendar that I linked on the presentation that you can click on, and it will tell you the last day. But I would do it now.
Yeah, it's usually the day before class starts. That's usually the last day that you can apply. However, this whole process takes some time. Like when you submit your concurrent enrollment form to the school, they need processing days. And they won't give you access to add the course into your schedule until they process your application.
So yeah, so just so you have an idea, you'll fill out the application and it'll be about a week before you get your student ID number and your email with your password. And once you sign into your My ECC account, then you'll see a registration date. So then you'll have to wait for the registration date, but you won't be able to register for classes until you submitted a dual enrollment form. And when you submit your dual enrollment form, it could be 1 to 2 weeks before they clear that class and you can register. So yes, this is probably like a 2 to 3 week process. So if you're thinking about it, I would start that process now so that you have the ability to register for your class this summer or next fall.
And college students are also registering for these classes. So the sooner you do this, the sooner you'll get a space in that class. And the last thing you want to do is wait till the end when there are no more spots in the class or waitlisted spots in the class. So in other words, what Ms. Doña and I are trying to tell you is do this as soon as possible.
Yes. So that's it for today. Go ahead and email us if you need any other type of support. But other than that, have a good day.
Quinto, showing some love. Quinto, bye, Quinto. I'm eating my lunch. Bye. Oh, I miss humans. I miss younger humans.
Yeah. Bye-bye.